A warm welcome to Loyola TV News in Brief. To present it, my name is Moka Sibuku. We take a look at the headlines. The Zambia National Farmers Union has commended government for the timely distribution of farmers' inputs under the Farmers Input Support Program FISIP. The Electoral Commission of Zambia is confident that all the eligible voters will be captured during the 30 days voter registration period. The EU says it has serious concerns about UK moves to override key parts of the Brexit divorce deal. And now the details. The Zambia National Farmers Union has commended government for the timely distribution of farmers' input under the Farmers Input Support Program, FISIP. ZNFU Media and Public Relations Manager Kelvin Kalei says farmers have not received inputs on time for years, hence the need to applaud government for the timely gesture. Mr. Kalei says with the timely distribution of inputs, the union is confident that the country will record another bumper harvest in the 2020-2021 farming season. More details in this.
From outset, we should mention here that government needs to be commended for the steps that it has taken to ensure that all inputs are distributed in the especially the outflung areas. What has been happening in the past is that you would reach, sometimes would reach November, December, and that's when the inputs are being distributed. Some time back, it was so bad such that January, that's when the inputs were being distributed. But now government has ensured that the inputs are distributed in all the strategic farming areas. And that is a very commendable feat, we should mention from outset. We have not seen this happen in a long time. We have heard promises in the past of inputs being distributed on time, but this is the first time ever that we've seen inputs being distributed on time and strategically being positioned in all the farming blocks, farming areas. So farmers, again, when you start preparing for the farming season, ensure, especially those that are not on the FISIP, ensure that you buy inputs from recognized dealers. Do not buy inputs from the street.
Mr. Kalei has urged farmers who do not access inputs under the Farmers Input Support Program not to buy from unregistered dealers to avoid substandard inputs. President Lungu says the problem of late delivery of farming inputs should never arise because all mechanisms are in place through the support program. Mr. Lungu was speaking in Chisamba when he launched the distribution exercise of farming inputs for the 2020-2021 farming season. The Electoral Commission of Zambia says it is confident that all the eligible voters will be captured during the 30 days voter registration period. Patrick Shindano, the Chief Electoral Officer, says the Commission has put in place 3 registration channels which are equal to the task. These are the pre-online registration, station voter registration, and mobile voter registration aimed at speeding up of the process. Mr. Shindano has since called on all eligible voters to take responsibility and register once the registration exercise begins. He was speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka today.
There are 3 channels of registration that the general public needs to take full advantage of. And these we have constantly and continuously communicated. One is the pre-online voter registration exercise. And this exercise will commence this month on 21st of September and will end on 6th of November 2020 for a total period of 46 days. Secondly, we have stationed registration centers. These will be fixed in all district centers, which should be taken full advantage throughout the period that the mobile registration will be running. So this will be now from 28th of October to 30th November. will have these stationed fixed registration points at all district centers. Thirdly, we have the mobile registration that will be undertaken in all the polling stations of the country. And this will be done simultaneously in all the districts, all constituencies, and all wards. So really, when you look at those channels, first and foremost, they do facilitate for us to capture the numbers.
Mr. Nshindano announced the change of commencement dates for the voter registration exercise, which was initially slated for the 19th of October to the 20th of November. The exercise will now be conducted from the 28th of October to the 30th of November. President Edgar Lungu says he is happy to see the commencement of works on the Lusaka's Long Acres roundabout, which will become a flyover bridge once construction is done. The works are part of the Lusaka decongestion project, which involves 91.4 kilometers of road rehabilitation, widening and construction, of which 29.3 kilometers is dedicated to bus lanes. The project includes construction of 4 flyover bridges, namely Makeni, Munali, Long Acres, and Arcades Junction. Out of the 4 flyover bridges earmarked for construction under the project, the Makeni flyover bridge on the Kafue Road is the first to be completed. More in this report.
The Lusaka decongestion project is poised to address issues of traffic and change the face of the greater city of Lusaka. Out of the 4 flyover bridges earmarked for construction under the project, the Makeni flyover bridge of the Kafue Road is the first to be completed. The flyover bridge was commissioned by the head of state on the 3rd of August 2020, paving way for improved flow of traffic and increased productivity in various sectors of the economy as people go about their daily business. The residents of Lusaka are elated over this project but have suggested that humps be introduced in the strategic places in order to control the speed limit of the vehicles.
Nangu muntu aisa kunwalanda aleta shata pale kule moneka bwino nakuchinja ku Lusaka. So tretasha ba president na bambi na ba Indians batupangire ko na imi na nkucha wa mo trefati yonse isure kama ma bridges aya mumuru.
But authorities have this to say.
Idea is reduce on time that you spend to reach town and we start putting speed humps. Are we going to achieve the intention of the flyover bridges?
Construction of the flyover bridge has enhanced efficiency by reducing the time spent on the road for the traveling public.
Papo joinina bamagwera kuyipa papo joinina bwa bapansi kuti wakomane uzangala ngozi nangu atupaze ko masaini ya bwino madam pansi a down atupaze ko mama ya bwino che masaini ya pansi.
No, tell them the essence of those flyover bridges is to decongest the traffic in Lusaka and to ensure that you spend less time between point A and point B. What should be clear is the drivers themselves should be mindful. Take the instructions on the road. If the road says 60 kilometers per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, that's what you are supposed to do. Anybody who does anything outside that is breaking the law.
The congestion project is being implemented by an Indian company, Afcon Infrastructure Limited, at a total cost of $13 million and the construction of other bridges in other parts of the city is underway. Luizana Lupumbwe, Loyola News in Makeni, Lusaka.
The 15 grade 9 female pupils who were admitted at St. Paul's Clinic in Kapirimposhi after consuming suspected poisoned local brew have been discharged. Smart Mwila, the district commissioner, has told Zanis that all the affected girls are now out of danger. Mr. Mwila said 7 girls were discharged yesterday while the remaining 8 have been discharged this morning. On Tuesday, 15 girls were writing their GCE examination at Brunelli Basic School in Kapirimposhi district were hospitalized after consuming a local brew suspected to be poisoned. This happened after the girls aged between 15 and 21 decided to drink the local brew to celebrate their successful completion of writing their GCE examination final paper in art and design. The traditional beer was brewed earlier that day by one of the affected girls, which was meant to be consumed after writing their final GCE examination paper. As Zambia continues battling its economic drawback, especially with the drop of the copper production, there is a chance that China may demand more supply as it witnesses an economic rebound. Zambia is Africa's second largest copper producer after Chile, with some pretty big mines. The country has suffered a frightening drop in revenue in the recent past. But a mining expert in Lusaka says Zambia could top Africa's largest copper producers list if it takes advantage of Chile's down low copper production, because its mining sector has been greatly affected by frantic COVID-19 cases. Edward Simukonda says Zambia must ensure that it gains significantly from the emerging supply effort as copper is mounting the London Metal Exchange market.
Well, what I would say is that, as Zambia, we should take advantage of our current situation. We're being hit left, right, and center over our own copper mines in the country. And I think for companies like Mopani, for instance, that is willing to give away all its shares back to Zambia, I think we should take advantage of that, looking at the price of copper that will be increasing very soon, so that at least Zambia can recoup some of the money that it has lost.
Loyola News has learned that the decision by the government to introduce higher mineral royalty taxes in 2018 has had a huge blow on the mining sector. Yusuf Dodia, an economist, says the changing of value-added tax to goods and service tax has been costly to the mining industry, resulting into upsetting the production of copper. Dodia says the continued deterioration of the kwacha can also be blamed on the dragging copper production and copper exports, because 80% of the country's gross domestic product, GDP, revolves around the exportation of copper.
The law of supply and demand is such that if there's not enough dollar, people will pay more for it, and so the prices start going up. And we've seen that phenomena go on towards the end of 2018, because the budget presentation is usually the last Friday of September. So you've got 3 months of which the mining industry is upset, and then the whole of 2019, and as we come into 2020, things even escalated, because in 2019 what we saw was government take over one mining company to put it into receivership, and later on we saw government again engaging with another copper mining company that wanted to lay off workers, and government was having a difference with them on how that mine is being managed. All this, would I call it discontentment in the mining industry, in my view, led to the kwacha deteriorating steadily.
The Zambia Environmental Management Agency has emphasized the need for safe practice in disposing of electronic waste, also known as e-waste. Let's find out more in this report.
Any form of garbage, if not well managed, has potential to cause damage to the environment and many other living organisms. Electronic waste is not an exception. But what exactly is electronic waste, and do many Zambians understand the importance of proper disposal of electronic waste?
Electronic waste, obviously, these are obsolete materials that come as a result of when our electronic or electrical equipment has come to an end or near end of life. We're supposed to throw them away. We have no use for them anymore. They become electronic waste, or e-waste in short. So some of the equipment that we use, cameras, phones, and several other electronic and electric equipment, contains a lot of other toxic waste that is supposed to be managed safely before it is thrown away into the environment.
And for traders dealing in electronic gadgets, there are better ways in dealing with their disposal. Improper disposal of electronic waste may cause pollution as well as serious health problems such as cancer and behavioral diseases.
In most cases, we used to just keep them because, you know, with these, like the way to you it may mean nothing, but it has some components. So in most cases, we would just keep them maybe in a box, but we, like us technicians, we know how valuable they are. So we usually not throw them anyhow. In fact, not only the engines, anything like these bulbs, they are very sensitive. Most of the things you don't need just to throw them.
It is therefore everyone's responsibility to ensure a safe, healthy, and eco-friendly environment by practicing safe ways of disposing electronic garbage. Elena Piri, Loyola News in Lusaka.
And in international news, Guinea's constitutional court, the highest in the West African country, has approved 82-year-old President Alpha Condé's bid for a third term in next month's election. The court also approved 11 other candidates, including the main opposition challenger, Cellou Dalein Diallo. There have been months of protest against Mr. Condé's re-election bid after he pushed through a constitutional change in referendum in March, which allowed him to stand for a third term. At least 30 people are reported to have died from the protests. Mr. Condé was first elected in 2010 and got re-elected in 2015. On Tuesday, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari had called on West African leaders to stick to their constitutional term limits, which he termed as a source of crisis and political tension in the region. The EU says it has serious concerns about UK moves to override key parts of the Brexit divorce deal. EU official Maros Sefcovic was speaking ahead of emergency talks with Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove on how the changes could affect Northern Ireland. The government says it is trying to protect the UK's internal market and the Northern Ireland peace process. Meanwhile, trade talks between the UK's Brexit negotiator, Lord Frost, and his EU counterpart, Michael Barnier, continue. The source of the EU's concern is Mr. Johnson's proposed internal market bill, which was published on Wednesday. As we end the news, we take a look at the headlines once again. The Zambia National Farmers Union has commended government for the timely distribution of farmer inputs under the Farmers Input Support Program, FISIP. President Lungu says the problem of late delivery of farming inputs should never arise because all mechanisms are in place through the support program. The Electoral Commission of Zambia says it is confident that all the eligible voters will be captured during the 30 days voter registration period. Patrick Shindano, the Chief Electoral Officer, says the Commission has put in place 3 registration channels which are equal to the task. These are the pre-online registration, stationed voter registration, and mobile voter registration aimed at speeding up the process. The EU says it has serious concerns about UK moves to override key parts of the Brexit divorce deal. EU officials Maros Sefcovic was speaking ahead of emergency talks with Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove on how the changes could affect Northern Ireland. The government says it is trying to protect the UK's internal market and the Northern Ireland peace process. On that note, we come to the end of the Loyola News in Brief. Do stay tuned and, of course, catch us tomorrow as we bring you some more news. From me, Moka Sibuku, and the entire production team, it's goodbye and God bless.